Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the latest episode of the Divine Mind podcast. Today, we have the world's tallest Spartan. His name is John. We're going to go through, he's a gamer turned cosplayer turned actor. If you don't know anything about him, he's 7'11", 6'11", is that right?
6'11", that's right.
6'11", 7'5" in armor.
Yes, that's correct.
7'5" in the armor. So we're going to get a really unique perspective today of somebody who is cosplaying, our beloved Spartan figure from the Halo franchise, and get the ins and outs of how the cosplay works, how, I guess, a little bit more of his history, get to know him. I think we've even talked about the fact he's moved into acting now. I've seen some really cool stuff that you'd worked on, both in Halo and outside of it. So it's going to be cool to touch on all of that as well. But John, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. I really appreciate it, dude.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So for the people that don't know, give them the quick rundown. Whereabouts were you born? How old are you? All that type of stuff.
So I was born in Fairbanks, Alaska. It was about 86 below zero when I was born.
Yeah.
And I like to bring that up because it's such a unique thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Left there when I was 4, moved to Idaho. Been here for a long time, since 93, I think. And I'm 32 now, so it's been a while. But I've been adventuring here and there for the longest time. I just kind of stayed here and thought that was it. I'm just gonna do this mundane job or whatever, and that's gonna be it. But I went to college for graphic design, and I'm an artist. I'm really good at art, love drawing and stuff. And it just wasn't really panning out for me because I have really bad dyslexia. So math and English was just like the worst thing I could possibly ever get into. Or it was mandatory. So I couldn't progress in my graphic design without accomplishing all the credits needed for prerequisites for graphic design. So I was like, I guess college just isn't for me.
Yeah.
So I started getting into cosplay, and I kept working hard, and it started opening a lot of new doors for me. It was really awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. So I'm so very interested to get into the cosplay side of things, but I'm more curious, how long have you been a Halo fan for? Were you playing that like since you were a tiny kid, or when did it come in for you?
I think I was 15 when it came out, give or take. I'm just guessing, but I was playing Combat Evolved in 2001 on the original Xbox.
Yeah. And what do you remember? How you felt the first time playing Halo?
Actually, I was thrilled. The first time I played it was a demo version at a game. I think it was a GameStop.
Cool.
And I was freaked out because it was a level where there was a bunch of invisible elites.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like a horror game to me or something. I was very new to Xbox at the time. I mean, Xbox came out in 2000, I think, or 2001 anyway, so I wasn't very experienced with console-related games. And Halo was one of the first ones, and it was definitely one of the most epic.
Yeah, for sure. And did you play the whole way through the series? Like, have you played 2 and 3 and 4?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah?
Yes.
And when you're playing like the franchise, are you like a social player? Do you play ranked? Do you play just the campaign stuff or customs? What do you enjoy about the game?
Back in the Halo 2, Halo 3 days, I played loads of ranked.
Yeah.
Especially Halo 2. But now in Master Chief Collection, I mainly stick with social because they don't have Team Slayer on ranked for some reason.
Yeah.
And they don't have SWAT, so I'm just doing social.
Yeah, fair enough. And if you had to pick a favorite game out of the series, which one is your like go-to favorite?
That's kind of tough, but I really like Halo 3 a lot. Yeah, this game I fell in love with. I do like the Halo 4 story. I will admit, at the very end of the game, watching the cinematics, I was crying when Cortana was dying. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
very emotional game.
yeah. No, it sure
Kind
is.
of a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, I think that's one of the beautiful things about Halo is that you get a lot of time to kind of build a bit of a relationship with the characters. You know what I mean? And they've all got really unique
Definitely.
personalities, and you're going through a alien world. Like and if you're really paying attention to it, it is easy to build that relationship with them, and it is a really emotional journey as well. So totally get it. Have you read any of the books, or do you get into any of the lore and stuff as well?
I haven't read the books, but I've been listening to them on Audible. So I've listened to Fall of Reach. I can't remember the names of the other one or two. I think I've only listened to 3 books so far, but they're all really good, full of amazing information. If you play the games, you love the games, you don't know the lore, I say this, it is worth it to listen, at least listen to the lore of all things Halo, because it's truly amazing. And a lot of the voice actors for the Audible books are very good.
Yeah, excellent. I personally haven't read or listened to any of them yet, but I have it written down right here that I need to start listening to them and
Yes.
and figuring out. I want to make a video because I was thinking about it the other day. How do you get into it? You know what I mean? Like if you're seeing Halo Infinite stuff for the first time, like the marketing and everybody playing it and talking about it from the flights, how do you get into Halo? You know what I mean? Like where should you start?
Well, I'm sure there's a list of you can play all the games chronologically, and they're all in order aside from Halo Reach. Halo Reach was apparently non-canonical.
Yeah.
But they've made a book that makes it canon. So, and I haven't read that book yet, but it's supposedly makes sense.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so you're playing the game since you were a teenager. You got into it. You're loving it, enjoying it. How does the cosplay side of things come up? Is that something like were you doing that in other genres before you decided to do Halo?
No, actually, I would say Halo is exclusively the only the only game I've cosplayed as. And I've not cosplayed as any movie or TV show characters at all. Just the Master Chief, or I've had my Warhawk character. I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah.
This is a black and gold, so it's a mirror gold vinyl that I put on the helmet to give it a bit more flair.
Yeah.
At the time, I was a noob, so I didn't know how to really make really good, clean looking armor.
Yeah.
And I thought, hey, I'll just put gold vinyl on it so it will pull the eye to the vinyl and not the defects on the armor.
Yeah.
This is a bad example of what I'm saying because this helmet was made by someone else, but
and it looks awesome.
thank you.
Yeah.
I also made this. This is the red part up here is called a plume.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, this bottom part is called the crest. Some people call it a warhawk, a mohawk.
Yeah.
And the mohawk is like a hairstyle. It's not this.
Yeah.
So this is detachable.
Oh, cool.
Magnetically.
Wow.
And it's clean on top, so you don't see any problems. You can choose to wear it with or without.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I just used some furniture or I think it was like a fridge magnet or something to keep it together.
Yeah. So how old were you when you started cosplaying?
I was probably 23 when I first started.
Cool. And what was the drive that got you into it?
Drive. I just remember taking a photography class in college, my first semester, and somebody's like, "You're really tall. You should cosplay as a Spartan from Halo." And I was like, "That makes sense, but it's very expensive, and I don't know anything about that stuff." But it gave me the drive to look it up. You have to download Pepakura, and you have to download all the files for all the Halo pieces. You know, I mix matched some things from Halo Reach and some things from Halo 3 on my very first build.
Yeah.
My first and only build, I may add.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an avid prop maker, but I do enjoy painting a lot. That's primarily what I do when it comes to cosplay.
Yeah.
That's my niche. But yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So you were 23 and you made your first one, which, like you said, it was a mix of Halo 3 and Halo Reach armor. How long did it take to put that together?
That was let's see. I might be getting these numbers backwards, but I think it was $500, and it was 800 hours on a $500 budget, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
So it was a Pepakura build, fiberglass.
For people that don't know, what's Pepakura?
So Pepakura is, you look up PEP, I think it's KURA or QURA, but just type it on Google and you'll find it. It's a Pepakura designer. It's free. You could pay for a $30 version or whatever the price is, and it'll let you save all your progress on, you know, like if you want to take out fold lines or whatever, but it just allows you to make a paper 3D model of your helmet, and then you need to go in there and use a liquid hardener like a resin to make the paper a little harder than what it is so it doesn't collapse on itself.
Mm-hmm.
You take some fiberglass matting that they use for putting on cars to repair cars.
Yeah. You
soak it in resin and you kind of brush it on the inside of the helmet to harden it up.
Yeah.
And some people use, I would say, 2 layers is a good amount of layers. I used 3 because I wanted it really strong. I didn't want it to break, but it also made it very heavy.
Yeah.
My entire suit of armor was 100 pounds.
Wow.
When I was done.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot to be carrying around. How long are you usually wearing it for as well when you put it on?
Oh, because I was so like pumped up about wearing the armor and showing people the art side of it, just the design, being able to walk around in a piece of art. I would say I would be walking anywhere from 3 to 10 hours.
Wow. So you could be in the suit for up to 10 hours, carrying around what 50 kilos, 100 pounds worth of fiberglass and paint and everything like that. Wow, that's epic. So where did you go once you finished that first cosplay that you did? Where did you go to show it off?
Well, considering the facts, here in Idaho at the time, we didn't have any Comic-Cons. This was back in 2012, so I didn't really have very many opportunities to show it off. Honestly, when I first made that cosplay, I had no idea what cosplay was because at the time, YouTube was just kind of sprung up out of nowhere. I watched a lot of tutorials on how to make my cosplay from it, but I wasn't very learned on what cosplay was. So I just wore it to grocery stores and libraries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No idea what to do with it. It wasn't until 2018 that I heard about Emerald City Comic Con and PAX West, which is in Seattle, and I wore it there for an event. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, that's really cool. And after you went to the first like a real event like that, did you have a lot of people that kind of reached out and started saying, "Hey, this is really cool. You should do another suit." Like, how did it evolve? What was the impact of going to your first like event?
The first event was very fun. I was very hot in the suit, so I wasn't sure if I really wanted to make another one and just punish myself even more. So I just kind of stuck with that. A lot of people really liked it, and because it was so well received, I just stayed with that.
Yeah,
as long as I could.
Yeah, fair enough. And then before we did this, I watched you sent me a video, and you were saying that you decided that you were going to make another suit, and someone told you to reach out to the guy who made it, or did you?
Well, what had happened was I went to an event, a local Comic-Con event. I don't remember the date. It was probably 6 or 7 years ago, and I overheated and nearly passed out, or I did pass out, and there was medical staff on the scene that were helping me out, and I was like, no, forget this. I'm sick of wearing this armor that's like practically killing me, so I threw it away.
When you
like, okay,
I got to ask, because you're 6'11". When you passed out, did you hurt yourself falling down? Because that's what
no, I wasn't like out cold on the floor. Someone was holding me up, and they had to get the armor off of me as quickly as possible. So they took my helmet off, and they let it drop on the floor. And this is the same helmet, and this helmet has several cracks in it. I was barely able to get it repaired, but when they took the chest piece off, the chest piece was just like the shoulders, and there was no rib armor. It was just kind of like two halves connected on the top bit.
Yeah.
Well, they snapped it in half. They pulled it up off of me like this, and just let that and set it down. But it was really messed up. So, and they had me, sat me in a chair. They're kind of pulling my shirt up and blowing down my spine, which helps cool the body. And there's a EMT there, and so I was like, I don't want to be this hot, and I don't want to put myself in danger, really. So, I mean, a lot of people just suffer through it. Beauty is pain. That's something my girlfriend says a lot, and it's true.
Yeah.
But, so I wasn't very experienced with EVA foam. The only thing out of EVA foam I've ever made was this thing. And so I was like, well, I really want to have a costume by the next convention in PAX, which was probably at the time 9 months away or 10 months away. So I was browsing on Halo Props on Facebook, which is a group page run by loads of amazing Halo cosplayers, very talented people. And I came across this guy that was making a really amazing tech suit, which is the suit that goes underneath the armor. And it was very detailed. It was the most detailed tech suit I've ever seen at the time. I was like, dude, this guy's really amazing. I was going to get somebody else, but I was like, I want to hire this guy. So I messaged him. I'm like, hey, I'm wondering if you would consider making a Halo 4 Master Chief suit of armor for me. And by the way, I'm 6'11", just 1 inch taller than Master Chief.
Yeah.
And he says, I will get back to you. So a day later, he messages me back. He says, I will make the suit for you, but I won't charge you.
That is incredible. Why did you not want to charge you?
I came to the knowledge of why about 4 or 5 years later, after knowing him for so long, and his response was, because I knew I could trust you, and I knew that you wouldn't just take the suit and leave. There was something about my demeanor that he had the foresight to see that we would work well together. And even though I only knew him for a day, somehow we just clicked.
Yeah.
We're just like that. And, you know, I mean, when he said that to me, I was like, there's got to be some strings.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Where do you live? Like, how are we going to do this?
Yeah.
He lived in Whidbey Island, Washington. I lived in Post Falls, Idaho. That is a 340-mile distance.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I wasn't making the suit. He was making the suit. Not charging me a dime for it. But I drove to his place on a Walmart budget. I was working at Walmart.
Yeah.
25 times over the course of a year.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of driving. A lot of petrol money.
That's a lot of vacation time and time, like, non-vacation time. And just like,
yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I'm not getting paid. I'm not being PTO or anything. I'm just going out there on a whim. Just hoping that he's going to make something epic. And of course, he made the absolute most epic armor ever.
Yeah, seriously.
After that 1.5 year amount of time, he made me that Master Chief armor. It was just impeccable.
Yeah, 100%. For anyone that hasn't seen it, I'm going to put it on the screen, this whole process. So that what you're looking at is the armor that we're talking about. It took, what, a 1.5 years, you said?
Yeah, 1.5 years on a $5,000 budget that he paid for himself.
Wow, that's incredible. So
he would not let me pay for anything.
Yeah,
I have tried. So in return, I would bring gifts, like I bring him a speaker system or whatever I could.
Yeah,
to make up for it.
Yeah, that's so nice of you. And so, what was the process of making it like? You know, you probably the first time you went there, you had to get measured up and make sure it was going to fit. And then, how does the process of building that kind of thing work? Well,
we started from the base, which is the tech suit. That in itself took the most amount of time, I would say. The armor, I suppose, was slightly easier to build because you had the tech suit as a consistent reference. I didn't have to be present.
Yep.
Considering that was built around me while I was there. The tech suit was very difficult to make. There's so many details, and followed every single one of them just looking at a Google image of a side face, front face, 3/4 face, back face of the tech suit on Google.
Yeah.
So once he got the tech suit made, it was all skin fitted to me. So no one else could fit into it, even if they were my height. They'd have to be the exact skinniness of me, which I guess is possible, but
yeah.
I would say the only part of the building process that I helped with was the skinning the tech suit. So the tech suit is made out of EVA foam,
mm-hmm.
and it's skinned with a latex honeycomb pattern. I need to bring up how the honeycomb pattern was made because that was very important.
Yeah.
Very amazing. So he took a hex bolt used for whatever hardware, and he filed down the edges, imprinted that into clay several times to make
the
honeycomb pattern on a square foot tile.
Yeah, cool.
And once he got that copied, I forgot the process, but he would pour the latex in. You have to wait 12 hours for it to cure. Then you've got yourself a sheet of latex hex tile.
Wow.
We had to make like 24 of those.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. That is it, because that just seems like it's going to take so long. And, you know, I love the passion that went into it because 1.5 years and that much detail, you know, like you said, you know, even just doing that is a lot of money and a lot of time, and we're just doing the undersuit. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So what comes after that?
So following that was the armor. A lot of people, cosplayers who've watched and heard his story. This is, by the way, Phil Shinner. is his real name, and his Facebook, Instagram name is Evacura Armor. I'll text it to you later.
Yeah, I'll put it on the screen.
Yeah, he's very talented individual. I'm just going to give you a little background on him. I mean, unless you interview him, which you should.
Okay, there you go.
But he was in the Marines and the Army.
Wow.
And when he got out, he's like, what am I going to do with my time? And somehow, you know, he got into Halo and video games just like a little bit. And he heard about the 405th.com, which is a Halo cosplayer community / forum. That's exactly where you would go to learn how to build props and learn about pep crow design and all that. But he found that. He's like, cool, I want to make Halo stuff. And I was like, it's just really neat how he went from being not just being a veteran, but like making really cool stuff.
Yeah.
That, I mean, there's nothing parallel to the suit that he's made besides the suits that he's made after the fact.
Yeah.
I mean, now he makes suits for 343 Industries on a professional level.
Yeah.
But, so the next thing was to make the armor that goes around the tech suit. And what I was getting at is that a lot of cosplayers get discouraged seeing our journey and thinking, I can't do as good as Phil Shinner. I cannot do as good as the World's Tallest Spartan or Evacura Armor. And the answer to that is yes, you can, because I'm not perfect, and Phil isn't perfect. And Phil has made many, many mistakes on the armor during the building process. Yeah. Can't stress that enough. And he's had to redo the chest like twice. So it's not just you just magically make it appear like you would on a 3D printer and hope that it's gonna just appear in front of you. It doesn't work like that. In fact, 3D printing isn't as easy as people think. It's not just pressing some buttons and then it appears. It's like you have to know how to build all the supports for all the prints, and once you're done with your print, lots of things can go wrong with a 3D printer. The nozzle can get clogged. It can there's parts break, all kinds of things. But I mean, fortunately for us, we didn't use any 3D printing in the process of making the suit. So it was just all handcrafted by looking at a Google image and crafting some foam.
Wow, that's incredible. So, okay, you've got that suit now. And did you have a place where you're like, cool, I can't wait to wear this, and then you get to go there, or was it?
Yeah. So at one point we didn't have time to make the armor, so I just wore the tech suit by itself to a Comic-Con at, I think, Emerald City, and people were still enamored by it. They're surprised that there was a full-on tech suit Spartan, I guess. This is like during the Halo 4 days, but it was well received. I think people liked it. I wasn't prating it too much, but it was fun. And then the following year we showed off the suit, and people were like, "Oh, that looks like it just popped out of a game." Yeah,
it really does, right?
Yeah.
What was the feeling wearing it for the first time to an event?
I was so used to already having worn other suits that it's even despite that, it feels like you've just walked over an overshield and Combat Evolved, and you hear the noise where it's like, "Woo!" and you're all of a sudden very invincible. and that's what it feels like getting into a suit of armor, especially a convention, because you just feel like this big armored powerful dude, even though I'm like skinny as hell and can't barely do a push-up. But it's like in the armor, you're in your own world, and you yes, you're portraying your favorite character to the best of your ability, but you also feel like a superstar while you're in there.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And yes, you're sweating bullets. Yes, you're super hot, and not in a good way.
Yeah. So what's the craziest thing that you've had happen at, once you've got the suit on? Have you had someone that's like tried to fight you before or anything like that?
No. I mean, I've been punched. I've been kicked. I've had mostly drunk people and children like hang on me. They'll pull on the armor, and I'll just be like, knock it off.
Yeah.
But you just have to be nice, because the ending result in yelling at someone or physical retaliation is just, well, now you're asking for it. You might be in the right, but is it really worth getting your costume destroyed if somebody decides to actually fight you? Let's say drunk people, for example, they think they're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
So it's just be as safe as possible. The other thing is, it's very important to have a handler, someone there to tell people to back off or to cue you if someone is small, let's say, is right next to you trying to take a picture with you. It's happened to me so many times. I can't see downwards very often.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So and so I've seen plenty of pictures online of you with kids and that type of thing. Is that just stuff that's come up just while you've been at events and that type of thing, or do you do some type of, maybe is it charity stuff or stuff like that where you kind of?
I have done some charity work, and I say some by 2 times. I've gone to a children's hospital. I've gone to a cancer research center. At the time, though, the children's hospital was on holiday and the children weren't coming out. So I got to see maybe a handful of kids, but the children don't seem to appreciate the armor as much as adults do, which is interesting. Like, even people in their 60s and 70s appreciate the armor more so than children do. It's just like children just have a short attention span. They're like, okay, and then they go play with their toys or something. It's like, okay, sure. When I was at the Cancer Research Center, that was something else. My aunt just happened to be there. She was having her leg removed because she had cancer. And so before she had it removed, she saw me. I walked with the armor in the hospital to her room, and she was on an IV and everything. And I remember her laying in her bed. She was kind of propped up like I am now. And she was like doing this while smiling. She was just losing it. She couldn't believe how badass the suit looked.
Yeah.
And she's like, this is amazing. I just want to walk around the whole hospital with you. So we did an entire tour of the whole hospital, which this was a cancer research center in Seattle. I was very surprised she made it as far as she did, because she was in a lot of pain. And that was a very emotional trip. I had also, while I was walking with her, I came across a guy that he was in a car accident, and he had a piece of rebar go through his throat and out the other side. And it wasn't there, but he's just recuperating. He was walking around with an IV as well. And he put his hand on my armor, and he said, that is the most badass thing I've ever seen in my life, and I'm glad that I lived to see it.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, well, even just from those few stories there, man, like you in that suit is just bringing so much joy to so many people. You know what I mean? Like it's incredible to see someone of your stature and then also reflecting a hero to so many people so accurately. And that's what I was going to say about, you know, also if you did have drunk people that were being annoying or whatever, is like you're actually playing a hero. You know what I mean? Like when people are looking at you, they're thinking of you as Master Chief. You know what I mean? Like they don't know who that person is inside the armor. So like
Right.
your actions and how you handle yourself is a way that people are like thinking about it. You know, so I find that really cool. And I want to know because there's been so much that's happened since you got that armor, right? One of them is that you did the that film that we were talking about before we started. It was like a Halo proof of concept. I think S117 was the name of it. How did you get into that?
Yeah, it's called S117, a Halo fan film on YouTube by Note Suwanchot. He goes by the film name Lightform Studios.
Cool.
Or Lightform Film. But this is just a guy that we met kind of randomly in the Seattle area while I lived out there. I don't remember. I think Phil is the one that set it all up, but he's like, yeah, this guy, he just like films weddings. I was like, okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, if he's got a nice camera, I guess we could make something cool. We'll just see how it goes. And during that process, I was like, yeah, you know, okay, so we have to raise money, make a Kickstarter. Hopefully we can get $35,000 nonprofit. It would just pay for like the meals, to rent a location, get some additional gear. A lot of what we were using is just like household items for like lighting and stuff. But this guy really pulled through. He had at the time a 4.6K mini Ursa camera, which I think was kind of like an experimental camera that had not yet been released. And he got it because he had put in some of his portfolio pieces to the company. I think the camera is made by Red. But anyway, and halfway down the process of getting ready for the film, I found a guy on Instagram. I don't remember his name, but he did all the special effects for us, and he had done a lot of he was responsible for all the credits for Avengers.
Oh, cool.
So, like all the really cool CGI stuff.
Yeah.
He was like on a team of 13 people or whatever to make all these crazy CGI scenes at the end of the credits.
Wow.
And so he did all the CGI stuff for our film.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because I'm gonna try and put it like over my face while we're talking. Because I watched it and got goosebumps. I thought it was just the sickest thing ever. What was it like acting in it? Oh, and like being a part of it?
It was definitely an honor. It was very difficult. We were filming at a time when it was cold. It was probably fall. So I mean, even at one point we had a bonfire scene where there's just like embers flying everywhere, super epic looking.
Yeah.
And while they're filming someone else's scene, I'm just like trying to stand by the fire to get warm, and I melted my armor.
Oh no!
Yeah.
That's a casualty of the industry, I guess.
Yeah, we had to redo the butt plate, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's so funny. And it's the butt plate as well that was melting. So
yeah.
Oh, it wasn't too badly damaged. Like you were able to get it fixed.
I mean, yes. The butt plate had to be remastered completely, just a whole new sheet of foam.
Yeah.
Which isn't terrible because Phil, of course, is a prop god, so he can, make anything happen. But
yeah.
there are some armor pieces have like a bit of bubbling on them. from the melting, and I'm just like, yeah, just kind of looks like it was supposed to do that. So
Yeah, it's like a plasma grenade went off too close to you, and
yeah,
like a little bit of damage, but didn't really like
yeah, it was just melting away.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I mean, from that, you've had some other opportunities in acting and that type of stuff come up as well.
Yeah. So the acting part, the only link it has to my cosplay is my World's Tallest Spartan Instagram page. Because if it wasn't for putting my height in my bio on my page, none of the acting stuff would have happened. Because I never put out, I never auditioned for anything. I mean, acting was never on the spectrum for me. I was working in a shipyard at the time, and I thought, well, this is it. This is all I'm going to be doing. I wasn't really into cosplaying or making cosplays because I was just too tired at the end of the day. But one day, sitting in a shipyard on my break, and I look at this message, and this special effects artist messages me. He's like, hey, shared one of my videos, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I shared it. I tagged you, but I didn't ask to share it. I'll take it down for you. He's like, no, it's okay, it's all right. I saw your bio and it says you're 6'11". Is that true? I was like, yes, yeah, true. Like, why would I lie about that? And this guy's like, oh, okay, that's awesome, because I'd really like it to be in my movie. Like,
wow.
At the time, I was like, I had already done the Halo movie, the little trailer thing that we made, but I thought, yeah, his page didn't have a whole lot of stuff on it, so I thought, okay, well, maybe it'll be another backyard production, but I really like acting as a creature actor or suit performer. So sure, yeah, I'll just try, no worries. And so the guy's like, okay, well, we need to send you down here to California to get you casted to cast. And so I was like, okay, interesting. So I got time off of work. I got flown down there. I think they paid like, man, I don't know. It was first class though. I was in one of those recliners in the airplane, and it was okay. Being as tall as I am, I don't fit in much of anything. First class business doesn't matter. I don't fit. Yeah. Even though it reclines and you're laying on a bench, the bench has a certain limit. I was my legs were like this.
Yeah. Well, dude, if they made it to your requirements, they'd have like 100 less people on the plane.
Oh yes, this is true. Yeah, just like have a whole cabin to myself. Yeah, or two cabins, I should say. But yeah, it was all right. They sent me down and put me in a nice hotel, and the director is like, yeah, so I really want to get to know you, and you can ask me some questions too. And he was a special effects artist, and I was just kind of blown away. I didn't realize that he was the super high echelon special effects artist. I knew that he did special effects, but I didn't really understand the concept. It wasn't something where you would like look at all the special features on a horror film and be like, yeah, special effects and makeup and prosthetics and stuff. I didn't know anything about that. I was just like, I'm just here. I have a job to do.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I made some special effects for Hellboy. I was like, what the fuck? Excuse my language. But
yeah. I actually love that.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
And he had done so many special effects on a lot of movies, and he's just like a king. I'm working for this guy. Holy shit. Yeah. So, they take me to a special effects place, and they get me all gooped up in this green goo that's covering my face so that they can copy it. and they had me on a kind of like made a scarecrow frame for me, so they could kind of T-pose me and make like a cast around my whole body for this film that they were making.
Yeah,
it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, and what was, because I've seen pictures, but and I'm going to put them again on the screen. But for people that don't know, what was the film? What was the character you played?
So the film is called Ali's Realm, and it was. I don't think I'm supposed to talk about like the story really, but my character was an alien called Charlie, and he's just this 7'2" alien with a tech suit for spaceflight, and he's supposed to be sort of like a mysterious apparition to this girl, and no one knows why. She can see him, but no one else can. And so, without going too far in the details, I'm not sure what else I'm supposed to say or not say, but
is it out? Like, can people watch it, or is it still like in process?
Well, I think it's a proof of concept short film.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was going to be sent off to, because it did do really well in, I think it was a Sundance Film Festival. It got lots of honors and whatnots, but it didn't, I don't think it really went anywhere from there for some reason. I don't know the details. I don't know the politics behind it or anything really.
Yeah.
I mean, it got a lot of attention, I guess, from people in the industry. I don't know. I got to see the short film, but the film is not available for the public eye.
Yeah,
and it's only like a half hour long. It's not a super lengthy film.
Yeah.
But it took us, I think it was like a couple weeks out there, and I was just going thinking, maybe I'm gonna make a few $100.
Yeah,
and I would say in the 2 weeks time I was there, I probably made 6 months of wages or something.
Wow.
2 weeks. And I was like, yeah, I want to keep doing this.
Yes, yeah.
And, it was amazing. They flew me out to New York with a suit and everything, and man, I was just treated like a king. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I was not expecting any of that at all. I mean, they have what's called PAs, personal assistants. They'll stand by your side and be like, what would you like today for your breakfast?
Wow.
Lasagna. Okay. And they'll just they'll just walk 5 blocks and go get it for you.
Wow. That's incredible.
It was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that the whole thing was really interesting. I mean, for my costume, I had a flight suit, which was a very comfortable flight suit in comparison to the Master Chief armor, I must say.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that wasn't was the cowl mask. I'm a very patient person. I will sit in there and sweat it out without complaining. But imagine a Batman cowl that goes from here all the way up over your head, and then they have a second piece that gets glued onto your face right here, and then a third piece on your jaw. Okay, so you're just covered with this prosthetic. I don't remember what material it is. It's kind of like a foamy material. And on top of that, I had, or I should say, under that mask, I had this thing I'm probably not supposed to talk about, so I'm not even going to talk about it. But anyway, the mask, once everything's glued, I can't tell that it's really there because it conforms to my body so well. I can move perfectly. It's just, I couldn't eat food while I was in it.
Wow.
So if I'm in it for 5 hours, I have to skip a meal. I have to drink something from Jamba Juice. Yeah, because my nose, there were no nose holes, so I couldn't breathe through my nose. So imagine plugging your nose and trying to eat something. You can't do it.
Yeah, it's
impossible.
Hard. Yeah.
So, yeah, it was. I'm very excited even now talking about it, and it's still been like 3 years since I've done it, and it was so fun. It was great.
Yeah. And I have to ask, because did you? You've got a partner as well. Are you guys? Is it just your girlfriend or fiance or?
Yeah, my girlfriend, and she lives in Britain, and she does cosplay as well. Right. I mean, right now she's just finishing up Spartan laser and an SMG for her Halo 3 Master Chief armor.
Cool.
And she is incredibly gifted, very talented. Name is Connie Smith, and I'll give you the links to her page and everything. But she is very talented at making EVA weapons and armor. She's had some commissions for others as well. She's made I think a Halo 3 Hayabusa armor that was kind of mix match with different parts from both. I think Halo 4 and Halo 3. She made a pilot helmet and sniper rifle. She made a bow rifle, assault rifle.
Where did you guys meet? That was it cosplaying that you guys met?
Well, cosplay is the reason we met, but we met on Instagram of all places.
Cool. Yeah.
So I saw she liked something. I think she had just heard about my page through a friend and came and liked something. I saw a profile picture. I was single at the time. I was like, hey.
Yeah. We've all done that.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not ashamed at all. So
hey, well, you've clearly got some game because it turns out that she's your girlfriend now. So there you go.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's very beautiful, very talented, very loving.
Yeah,
and I'm very lucky to have her.
Yeah, definitely. So, how do you guys get to see each other often at the moment, or?
Well, I went sprinting about 3 weeks ago, roughly. So I got to see her for the first time out there for a couple of weeks, which was awesome. Got to meet her family, and it was great. And we went to London and just explored a bunch and had a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's
so really now she's going to be coming over here for Christmas. That's going to be nice. Get to show her America.
Yeah. yeah. No, that's really cool. That's awesome, man. We're actually getting close to an hour, and so I'm gonna wrap it up with a few questions before we finish. Okay. Before we get to that point, though, is there anything else that you want to talk about that I missed? Actually, I think one thing that you did mention before we started that I didn't touch on was that there are other World's Tallest Spartans out there.
Yes. So there's a few of us World's Tallest Spartans, and I just wanted to clarify that because at one point, when I first made my name, I was like, yeah, I'm the World's Tallest Spartan because I don't know of any others. They're of my height. And I figured it's an eventuality. Someone is going to either be taller or as tall eventually. And I figured, why not make a page that's dedicated to Tallest Spartans, plural. So I made a Facebook page, of which isn't really being used much. There are people on there. The height requirement is 6'7" plus.
Yeah.
If you're 6'7", I mean, that already to the average person is pretty tall. So I figured that's the minimum.
Yeah.
And there's maybe a handful of guys on there, but unfortunately, a lot of them don't use the page very much. I don't even really use it. I just use my Instagram. And the reason my Instagram doesn't say World's Tallest Spartans is because I couldn't fit the S. Yeah,
fair enough. Actually, tell me a little bit about the Instagram page, because if I'll just have a quick look so I'm not lying. You've got 90,000 followers on there.
Yes.
How did that kind of happen?
Well, some of that stemmed from a few cute videos that I posted of me like taking a picture with a little girl, or I was also sharing my proof of concept Halo trailer a bunch, and a lot of it, because in the beginning, when I first started my page, I didn't have a whole lot of content. I didn't wear my suit every day. There's this YouTube page, I think, Living with Chief. Those guys probably put the suit on all the time because there's a group of guys and gals together that can help each other do all that. It's a team effort. Whereas for me, I'm by myself most of the time, and I don't have someone to help me put the suit of armor on because I cannot put it on myself.
Yeah, I can't.
Many complicated parts, and that's what you get when you have a better looking suit, I guess.
Yeah.
A bigger, better looking suit, and you can't. It's really hard to, I guess, one up that.
Yeah,
they've got the higher ground on that, but I'll still be taller than them. It's just that the girlfriend I've got over in Britain, Connie, she's gonna help me out a lot. She's like, yeah, I'm probably gonna tell you to put your suit on more than you'd like to. Like, I'm okay with that. Sure.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
I originally, I think, like, I post a lot of stuff that pertain to my black and gold armor, and then I got the new suit and was doing that. But because, like I said, I can't get in the suit all the time, so I was sharing a lot of content from other pages, and I credited them by their name and just like copy and pasted everything they said. And that over time, I was getting maybe, and sometimes 10,000 followers a month.
Wow, that's incredible.
But that's very rare. Sometimes it was just like 1,000 a day, and I guess within 5 years' time, I got the 90,000 mark.
That's insane, man. I've been working really hard on the Divine Mind Instagram page, and we only just hit 3,000. So, and that's been almost 2 years now. So,
but when you think about it, 3,000. I mean, it's going to take you a long time to count that number yourself, right? That's still a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Very small fraction of that, even for me. Very small fraction of that is actually like they're seeing your stuff. Like for me, yeah, I have a big number on my page, but I don't make money from it.
Yeah.
And the amount of people who are actually looking at my stuff is probably like 1,200. On a daily basis, it's not that much. So when you look at people like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, for example, he's got the highest amount of followers on Instagram. I think it's like 300 million or something.
That's
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But when only 100,000 people are looking at his stuff, that's like a fraction of what,
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, for sure. Well, have you ever thought about doing any like YouTube or Twitch streaming or anything else as well?
I've played some games on Twitch, but my audience is no more than like 2 people at a time because I don't promote it often. I don't perceive myself as a funny gamer, let alone a very talented gamer. I'm just kind of a casual, and I like to have fun and just chill with people.
Yeah.
I feel like the audience would just get bored.
Fair enough. It's a very saturated thing to be doing at the moment, and you're right. Unless you're really good at the game or really entertaining, it's hard to find a foothold in it. But like I said, we're heading towards that hour, so I've got 2 questions that I like to finish up with, just to get a little overview. If you were like thinking of yourself 5 years from now, right? What's the dream reality look like for you? Are you wanting to do more acting? Are you married? Do you have kids? Like, what's the dream reality for you for 5 years from now?
Married with kids, still cosplaying, and hopefully acting as well. And
Actually, that brings me
Probably allowing myself the time to be more creative with my talents.
cool. I love that, and that's the hardest thing with being a creative person, is being able to find the right amount of time so that you can actually put the effort into what you want to do.
Right.
When you said married with kids, it just made me think. Did you see the cosplay? I only just saw it on Instagram like last week, and it was a dad and a mum and a dad, and the mum was dressed up as Cortana.
Cortana, yes.
Yeah, and she was wearing heels, carrying a kid, and the dad's dressed up as Master Chief walking along.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought that was wicked.
that's a dream right there for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see you and your missus doing that at some point.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'll be awesome.
Looking forward to it ourselves.
Yeah. Well, the last question that I ask as well is, I reached out to you because I've been a fan of the content that you put out on Instagram, and I just thought it was so unique that we had to get to know your story a little bit more. And I've really enjoyed chatting with you today as well. And I'm sure that we'll have an opportunity to talk in the future again as well on another episode of the podcast. But I usually get guests on by having them tagged in. So is there somebody who you'd like to see on the podcast that you think has a good story that you think would be, add some value to the podcast?
Absolutely. You have to interview my girlfriend, Connie, and Bill Shinner. Excellent.
All right, cool. Well, I'll let you, if you send them a message and say, hey, Liam from Divine Mind is going to hit you up about an interview. I did this podcast episode just so they're expecting it and they don't, not see it when it comes through. And then I'll definitely get them on. I love the idea of meeting more people from the cosplay community. So that's going to be epic, and getting to hear their backgrounds and the stuff that they've done. But for everybody that's watching this episode of the podcast, if you want to see any more of John's information, it's going to be in the description of the video. So you can just go down there and, your viewership, you watching right now is the reason why I do the podcast. So if you have an opportunity, leave a comment. Let me know what you liked. Let me know if there's any guests you'd like to see on the podcast in the future. Leave any feedback and then watch the video all over again. And